Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at another World of Warships replay. So this game is a little special. This is the very first game I ever played in my Helena. I've never played it in either this account or my old account. And so I got it after I got the Dallas, stuck my Dallas captain in it, stuck a new skin on there, moved all my modules over, and I went ahead and got into a game. I didn't have quite enough re-XP to get the fully upgraded range module, so I am playing with a 13-kilometer gun range. I also have the stock hull, so I don't have any of the upgrades on the ship. I'm coming in completely fresh, just coming off of the Dallas. And so far, what we're doing is we're just moving on to B, and we are just going to have some fun with the enemy ships that are pushing into B. Something I really like to do on this map when I'm trying to contest B is I like to just kind of lurk around the islands here, especially in my cruisers, and just try and punish anybody who overextends into this cap circle. This Königsberg made a number of huge mistakes. The first big mistake he made was playing aggressive in a tier 7 game in a Königsberg, and the second big mistake he made was put himself in a position where he was the easiest target for all of our ships to shoot at. And so, of course, it got him killed. Okay, so that out of the way, what is the deal with the Helena? So the Helena is obviously tier 7 American light cruiser. Big difference between this ship and the Dallas is this ship has almost exactly 50% more firepower. In addition to getting 5 additional guns, I believe you also have a slightly faster reload time, and those 15 guns allow you to put some serious pain on destroyers, as you're about to see with that 9,000 damage volley on that Akatsuki. And then we're going to finish him off with another 4K volley on that Akatsuki, taking him down in 2 salvos, almost from full hit points. And that is what this ship is all about. You have these 15 guns, and there I am reacting in chat. Because, again, I never played this ship before, so I'm kind of reacting in real time in the game chat to how good this ship is. About 15 guns really do allow you to put some serious DPM into people. I've noticed, again, I've actually only played 4 games in this ship so far at the time of recording this video, but what I've noticed so far is your ability to just put DPM into targets is, like, just insane. The pure DPM that this ship has is really, really, really powerful. And here you see the 13-kilometer gun range really limiting me a little bit. I'm trying to get shots into this Congo, but he's at my maximum range. He just turns away. Ugh. But no, don't worry, it does get better. This is a completely stock ship, so I am going to be able to get the upgrade. I think actually after this game I maybe have enough, or maybe I play this game and then I play one more game. I forget exactly how I did it, but anyway, I do have the range upgrade now, and it is definitely a little more comfortable to play. The gun range is a lot less of an issue than I was expecting, and I think that's partly compensated for by the fact that you just have this raw firepower. And there's the Atlanta taking a big ol' hit, I assume from the Nagato, although I don't ever really confirm that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shell this Atlanta. If my aim is good, I can shred this guy pretty quickly. If my aim is bad or I get unlucky, not so much. The biggest disadvantage of this ship, in my view, is hitting things at the very maximum range of your guns. And obviously, I think in this case, I'm more just screwing up, but hitting things at long range that are fast and maneuvering, it's tough because your shells are so floaty, they take a long time to get there. But when you're shooting at destroyers at close to mid-range, you can pretty easily shred them. And here I am, I'm turning on my hydro just to check to see if there are torpedoes, and he did drop torps, but he dropped them on the Dunkirk, not me, which is nice. Still felt it was better to be safe than sorry in this situation, and now I'm looking at the map and I'm thinking, alright, we gotta get this B cap dealt with, so I'm gonna go push in. Meanwhile, look at the north. The enemy team has actually won the north, so I have a plan for dealing with this. My plan, since we've won the south, is I'm going to go into B, I'm going to lurk around B, I'm going to farm the enemy ships that are in C, and from there I'm going to be able to hopefully do a lot of damage, and my plan is really just to farm the enemy ships as they push in to try and fight my team at B. So, that's the plan, we're going to execute it. So, what's the other strength of the Helena? Something that's really a strength of a lot of these American light cruisers is they're very versatile. Look at my consumables. I have defensive AA, I have a fighter, and I have hydroacoustic search. That gives me a lot of utility as a ship. I can charge down destroyers and force them out of smoke. I can use my defensive AA to provide an anti-air screen for my battleships. And I can also use my fighter to spot over islands and provide a little more anti-air if I need it. So, lots of versatility on this ship. A lot of ships in the game force you to choose between defensive AA and a hydroacoustic search. Not so on the Helena, not so on most of the American light cruisers. You don't have to choose, which is a really nice feature of these ships, and in my view does kind of compensate for the fact that their gun range is so limited. Um, at tier 7 and at tier 6, it's not horribly incapacitating, but my understanding is it does get to be a little bit of a problem once you start to get into tier 8 and you get into tier 9. But I haven't played those ships yet, so I can't speak exactly to whether that's that much of a problem. I imagine it is, but I'll have to get to that point in the tech tree before I can really definitively say. So anyway, we're now capping. I've been trying to put some fire into this Bayern, and we are going to start to light him up here. Again, really something to use to your advantage is firing over islands. Basically, in my view, there's two important tactics that you can use in your American light cruisers to really maximize your ability to make use of them despite their low gun range. The first thing you can do is you can shoot over islands. That's the big one, right? So what you want to be doing is finding positions where you can shoot from cover. Because you have such floaty shell arcs, it's really easy to do in a lot of maps. And in situations, and there I am in chat, what the fuck is up with this ship? It's so fucking good. And that's because I just came from like 40 games or however long it took me to finish grinding out the Dallas. And the difference is night and day. Honestly, I do think this ship is much stronger tier for tier than either the Dallas or the Omaha. Just because your firepower is so much greater. But anyway, so the one tactic that you can use that I'm using here is just shooting over islands. The other tactic that you can use that I'm not going to really use that much in this replay is kiting away. Kiting away is really, really important on maps that there's not a lot of hard cover, and there are plenty of those maps in the game, and you aren't always going to be in a situation where you have ample hard cover. You are often going to find yourself in a situation where you really don't have the kind of cover that you'd want, and you're going to be forced to fight enemies in the open ocean. And when you're in that situation, and here I am being rammed by my battleship friend, I'm going to actually eat a citadel for it, unfortunately. But anyway, the reason that's important is you're not always going to be in a situation where you actually have islands to hide behind. You're often going to be in a situation where you really don't have a choice. You have to fight somebody in the open sea. And in that kind of situation, you really want to be kiting away. Kiting is a really, really strong tool that you can use to mitigate poorly armored ships in an open ocean environment. And it's something that I use a lot in my light cruisers that generates me a lot of benefit. So anyway, now I'm going to shoot at this Texas, and if there's one thing that the Helena really feasts upon, it's low-tier battleships. And we're going to see that right now. When you shoot at like a New York or a Texas or like a Britannia or something that is a lower-tier battleship that has a lot of surfaces you can pen, oh man. Oh boy, it's juicy. Now, another thing to bear in mind, this captain does not have IFHE, and this captain is not fully trained for the Helena, so none of my perks are active. I don't have AR active. I do not have Demolition Expert active. I do not have Priority Target active, so I can't tell if people are shooting at me. However, despite not having Demolition Expert, and despite not having AR, I'm still doing pretty good for myself, doing pretty solid, putting some damage into this Tejas, and we're just going to try and burn this guy down. And as you can see, we do have a lot of DPM when you're shooting at low-tier battleships, which is really, really nice. So basically, the two main sources of damage, obviously, for the ship are going to be fires and your actual HE rounds. One of the big disadvantages of the American light cruisers, in my view, is their lack of torpedoes, and what that means is it's a very mixed bag when it comes to brawling. When you're trying to fight destroyers, really your main weapon is going to be your guns, but if you're trying to fight a battleship at any sort of close range, it's really useful to have torps, and these ships not having them does create a liability. So if I'm going around a corner and I run into a full health battleship, I really don't have a lot of recourse beyond like trying to ram him or just fucking run away, right? And so that's a significant issue with these ships that in my view you're going to need to watch out for. But in my view, at least with the Helena, I think the benefits really outweigh the cons. I think this is a really solid ship in my few games that I've played so far. It's doing really well. So this game's about to end, so I'm actually going to pause and just talk about the big takeaways that I really want to emphasize from this replay. So big takeaway number 1, Helena is a solid ship. Big takeaway number 2, shooting over islands is really useful. When you're in a situation in a ship like this where your team like kind of overwhelmingly wins, you need to put yourself in a bit more of an aggressive position in order to be able to do a lot of damage, right? Because one thing that ships like this that have really bad armor, really bad protection, and not great gun ranges, one situation that they're not that great at is when your team just utterly steamrolls the enemy, right? So if your team like completely curb stomps the enemy team and they're just YOLOing into them, you have to anticipate that and be really aggressive to compensate, right? So like in this match, when we won B, I didn't just linger around back here trying to stay alive. I pushed up into this region, right? Even though their battleships were all in here and could shoot at me, I felt that we were going to win the game pretty handily. I felt that I wanted to get myself in a position where I was going to be able to do damage. And it worked out. We did 90,000 damage even though we're stock and don't have a fully upgraded captain yet. And so that's one of the big things from this game that I think is really important is what you need to be doing when your team overwhelmingly wins on a flank and you're in a ship like this that isn't super good at pushing because you don't have a lot of armor. In that situation, you kind of just have to bite the bullet. I think sometimes people tend to play a little bit passively, and I think you do want to strike a balance. The nature of these ships is very passive, but at the same time, it is really important to be able to identify when you need to play aggressively, just in order to be able to do damage and have a good impact on the game. And I think we were able to do that in this game. I think this game's a pretty good demonstration of how to do that, and I think it's a pretty good demonstration of how to use island cover. Hopefully in later videos, I'll show you a little more about what I mean about kiting and how important kiting is as a tool that you can put in your toolkit when you are playing these American light cruisers. And I hope to play some more games in this ship soon and hopefully unlock the Cleveland at some point and demonstrate some of that. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay classy, be kind to each other, and I'll see you next time.